So if you're wondering, we are having to install updates for the mods that are out of date. So that's what we're doing here at the very beginning. We got to update a couple of mods. And then after we update all the mods, we'll hop into the survival. Good news is we will have a server coming. Okay. Which will actually be taking place with, if not all, and some, as in more or less mods. Um, than what our single player here is going to be running. We have the idea for a Evo Chaos Arc server, which is not going to have those three words being the name of it. I'm just letting you guys know that it is actually called Evo Chaos because I believe that is what I'm running in Beacon right now. I don't know if it actually let me, share it to everybody because I've imported the mods into Beacon and then sat down and weighed out all the different settings and then ended up posting it, as in technically requesting if I can post it to Beacon's shareable bit in order for you guys to be able to go use it. I don't know if Beacon has updated that or not. So that's something I will have to go look at myself because of the fact of I do, however, want to get my server settings out to where everyone can deal with it and have it optimized in the position of where the servers are not too boosted, but they're not under boosted. They have good mods on them and not like wacky mods because let's be honest, like some servers I've seen on here has very wacky mods. Um or mods that just aren't needed because of the fact of, well, the dinosaurs that release into the game are some of the modded creatures, and servers still run mods that have the creature that aren't just directly added into the game. Again, it's not rocket science to understand that is not really useful for a mod space at that point. So, yeah, a little bit of stuff like that we do have to go over and check. But again, I am doing our different mod space. As you can see, we do have 4 pages of mods here, by the way, guys, that we are going to be going through. And some of them, one of them actually is one we haven't used because I grabbed 2 different of the same type of mod. One I think forces you have to type it in manually. The other one didn't. And I wanted to see if the one that didn't actually worked. So I had the other one there just as a backup. So we will be removing the one that was the backup because the other one worked. Um, I have also noticed that yes, Arc did break stacking mods a little bit. I read in the bio, like the bio actually said it, and I was like, "Oh, how did they break it? And like, what does that mean?" And I've found out that if you place a table or an object, and then you're using a stack mod, and let's say the items stack up to 10,000, right? So, and you have a stack of something in there for 7,000, but the stack usually only holds 200 if you don't have the mod. When you leave the world and go back in, for some reason, it will actually say that even though it still shows that it's 7,000 in the stack, it'll still take up like 12 spaces of inventory, even though it's only taking one slot. Um, I don't know how Arc managed to break that. Maybe they don't want stacking to be a thing on on single player servers, but that's kind of weird knowing how they've let it go through Ark Survival Evolved and seen that people want higher stack rates, and then now in this game too, where people has like wanted higher stack rates. And the main reason for that is when you're having to craft a good amount of stuff, especially if you're using blueprints, sometimes blueprints can be costly on like how much like items it takes to craft it. So people just want to be able to stack up more items so that way when they're crafting something, instead of like having 8 different stacks of iron going into like a smithy with 8 stacks of this, that, X, Y, and Z taking up a lot of space, Maybe they just want the stack rate to be higher so that way they can actually apply more resources into a smithy without having to take like 10 different, inventory slots to do it. Which I feel that's how the game should be in the first place. Like if you're taking it and you're storing it into a container, if I have a bookshelf and I want to store something in a drawer, I'm not going to be like, oh, only 12 of one item goes in this drawer, and then I'll have to take 12 of it again and stick it in a new one. I can just fill that whole drawer with literally as many of that item till the drawer is full, right? Um, so how much it stacks in your inventory should not be how much it stacks in a craftable inventory. A craftable inventory should have a little higher, like what it can stack to higher, and that little bit that I'm talking about. So being able to modify the stack rate is actually good for the game, not horrible. So Ark, we need to figure out a way to fix that. Secondhand, paid for mods, meaning like mods you pay out of real money for, is failing to work how they should. I understand, like, if I'm using Paleo Arc Evo Plus here, right, for like Rulers of the Wasteland, I'd understand downloading mods like that and them not working clearly because they're free, right? Which means like anything could be happening to them. But paid mods that I have to go and pay real money for, example, pull out my wallet, pay with a credit card, or go down to the local store paying with cash or a card to get a PlayStation card to then type in the numbers on the back of that card to be able to put the, actual currency to my console and then pay for the object. Those should never have issues to the point of what they do. I'm talking about trying to install them and the game just crashes. Like, what? Or how about I have no mods installed at all when I originally installed this game and go in to go install a mod and it goes, I'm sorry, look at older mods and uninstall mods to create more space. Uh, I had none. I ended up having to like reinstall this game 2 times in order to actually download mods, which is crazy. Okay. Especially paid mods, that I paid $20, $10 for in the past. Yeah, no, I should not be having those type of issues with that. I paid real money for it. Those should work smooth as if I'm actually paying for a fucking DLC. Because technically that's what it is at that point. I'm paying real money for it. It is a fucking DLC, which is downloadable content. It's no longer just a mod. So, yeah, we need to really make sure we don't have any issues alongside that ever. And if it is like an issue, it's something that only happens once, very rarely. And then secondhand, because it technically is a DLC, your updates need to work around the content, meaning make sure they're updated immediately alongside, or B, your updates don't break those mods that are paid for. Because I'm pretty sure you wouldn't release an update for Ragnarok for it to break, I don't know, Scorched Earth. Is that catching the hint here? Technically, the other shit we bought and paid real money for is technically DLC, so anything you're creating around stuff like this should not break those mods. Especially since they're DLC, technically. I hate to be mean like that, guys, because I really do. But at the end of the day, I do have to kind of point that out. Hold on, let me do this, make sure everything here is up to date because we are technically on page 3. Now we're going to the final page. Okay, I don't see anything here. And if you're wondering, one of those is this, which is Primal Nemesis. This is the one that literally is a paid mod that would not want to install. I had to literally delete the game 2 times and reinstall it back completely to then finally get this to install. Secondhand, Arc. I am hardwired into my router at, shit you not, 1 gigabit per second. That is literally 1,000 megabytes. You cannot tell me my download speed is kilobytes. You can't. Write speed or not, you can't. The minimum write speed I should be having from downloads to put onto the drive of my console, the lowest should be 1 megabyte. It should never fall below that. Let's fix that. Hell, Fallout at least has you beat on that. I can download something in Fallout that literally is 500 megabytes in the blink of a fucking eye. Literally, I click install and that thing is done. But yet, I come over to this game, I click it, and I have to set here on a 500 megabyte object for 10 minutes because you want to download in kilobytes. Make that make sense, please. Secondhand. This is purchased, by the way. You can see purchase. It's not free like this is. It says purchased, okay? Meaning I paid real money for it. But I bet you if I go into this, not only is it going to crash, because I can even show you that. I can click on it. I go in and boom, it just fails to fucking load. I don't know what's causing it, but literally I spawned in, swam somewhere, hopped off the game after saving it, went to log back on later that day, and then every login is just a crash. Like if I want to spawn back in here, I have to legit wipe my saved data from the map, and then I can hop back in it. Paid, by the way. Wildcard, why is that an issue? DLC, because it ain't free, it's DLC, you pay for it, should not be that broke. Ever. And I'm shitting you not, guys. Like, look, installed, it does not say purchase, as in I've already purchased it. This is the ID for the mod and stuff like that, which is a map. Okay, but this is a paid map, kind of like you would do here if you went to Discover and you go to Premium Mods, which, by the way, technically is DLC because you have to pay for them. They're not completely free. Now, there's what you call freemiums, which, by the way, is still a premium mod you can download the free version of, which means you can't ride the creature, you can't wear its armor, it just walks about your world so you can just see what it looks like. Right? You just get to look at it. But then you get what I have here, which is purchased, which means I've clicked into it like you do Eternal Chaos here, by the way, which is $10. And I've actually purchased the mod for an actual price, which means that's DLC. That is no longer the grounds of a mod, because a mod is something like Dear Dino Finder here. That notice does not say purchase, it just says install. Mods are free, DLC, downloadable content, is paid for. Okay? So for them to legitimately, I don't know, drop the ball and fumble downloadable content is ridiculous. And as much as I really want to sit here and say, like, this thing is uber good, because usually I would sit here and say that. I would. Because stuff like this usually is okay. And by the way, they kind of did break this, and we'll kind of show you that here in a second. But I am going to go ahead and download this one, though, just in case it could just be the other one. So just make sure it isn't multiple things. Like right there, that's how fast every mod should download. Every mod. Yeah, all of them, every time. All right. Um, even 500 megabyte. That dude, I can download an entire fucking game, like a Call of Duty game. Think of that, like Modern Warfare 3, it, and all its fucking downloadable content files from multiplayer, single player, Warzone, all of it. 30 minutes. And think of how big those games are. But you're telling me I can't download a simple thing as small as these mods in like 5 minutes or less for some of the good sized ones? That makes no sense, man. If I download an entire game and its DLC content, technically multiple games in literally 30 minutes time, something that's not even a fourth of the size should not even cost double the time. Okay. It shouldn't at all, ever. Um, that needs some really good sized fixes. Next thing, and this is more for Arma Reforger than it is any other game, but some of the games take note. Um, Bethesda, I will say you guys pulled the W with your one of your recent updates because you realized console players can have 100 megabytes of mod space, not just 20. Okay. So yeah, I will say W Bethesda on that because again, we get 1 terabyte of fucking memory on our console, which usually grants us 3 to 4 games on top of all the DLC content they usually release. Bro, I run Minecraft with like 20 something mods perfectly fine. Literally fine. On top of having this game with however many mods you see here, which is 20 something mods, right? Fine. Apart from the game being stupid itself, right? Arma, I hate to say it, man. Like, usually Bohemia Interactive is good because look at Arma 3, look at Arma 2, right? Good games. How did we manage to go from those to Reforger? Think of that for a second. Literally, it went from being like the way I feel like it should have went was Reforger should have been the first game they ever created, and then ended at Arma 3. Literally, it should have went Reforger, Arma 2, then Arma 3. Because at least then it would actually look like the game is upgrading with its technology, not downgrading. Secondhand, one thing I will give a W to with Arc, okay? Wildcard, this is a W for you, that Bohemia gets an L2, and that is server side mod setup. Literally, if I go to Nitrado and I try to host an Arc server compared to hosting a server for Daisy or even, okay, Arma Reforger, in the Arc version, I can literally just click on the mods page inside of Nitrado, scroll through a page like this, click on a mod, and then click install it. And it will download through the Nitrado thing and automatically put itself on the server. That is a W. So what I can say their wildcard, wonderful. That's a W. You guys actually done a lot better than Bohemia Interactive. Because Bohemia Interactive, I guess, still think it's the fucking caveman era. So they literally have you type out not only the mod ID number, but the name of the mod and its version. in an INI file. Not to mention, you don't get to choose to change a lot of stuff like weapon damage, the health to your players as much. I mean, you can mod, but then you still have to type in all the fucking shit I just told you before in order to try to equivalate the mod. And then you have to worry about which load order you're placing the mod because, the servers can't just install the mods, put the files on the computer, and then the mods check for the dependencies to see if the dependency is there. No, it has to check to see if the dependency is there before it can even fucking install. Bro, the server hasn't even started yet. It's starting, which is downloading everything. At that point, you can say the folder gets created, the contents that's placed in that folder gets created, it moves to the next one and keeps doing the same thing. And then later, when the server starts, when the mod actually recalls for the folder that it needs, it can then go, oh, hey, it's actually there. Right? It doesn't even do that. Bohemia. That is sad. At least in Fallout and Bethesda, right? Don't get them too cross. Bethesda's Fallout, Bohemia is Arma, okay? But anyways, Bethesda, at least I can download the mod, and if it doesn't have its dependency, it disables itself. It doesn't delete it, it just disables it till the dependency is there. Then once the dependency is installed, I can click enable. I feel like that's more futuristic and better to today's bullshit than it is what you're doing, Bohemia. Oh, we can't even fucking install the mod because, well, dependency ain't there. When really, after everything starts, that's when it can actually recall upon its files to see, like, hey, is the dependency actually installed and loaded? Not during the download. Because then, in that exact case, you don't even have to worry about putting a dependency above the mod because the mod just has to check to see if the dependency is a part of the server files. Therefore, it's actually just looking for the dependency, not the load order. I know. Wishful thinking for game devs to actually be smart for once when they make something, right? And not just be fully money hungry. But anyways, create a resume game. Now that we have our mods all installed, and we are actually going to be showing you guys the crash that'll happen. So we're just going to go ahead and click on this. But before we do that, let's go ahead and go mod settings and available mods, because we're not using this yet. We're using this one. Automatic commands here. This is the one we need to delete. So we need to go delete that here in a second. And if you're wondering, I downloaded the other mod because that is going to be a mod we use on the actual server. I just wanted to go ahead and get it installed. That way I can just click update if one releases. That way I don't have to download the entire mod. We just get the update. But mods list, let's go delete that mod we need to delete. And then we can go in and play. So the mod we're looking to delete is automatic commands. This one. Which, by the way, removes fog and reflections and this and that, but yeah, it says add and console commands with, by the way, it's supposed to be add in console commands, not and. English is broken, but first of all, with dash. Okay. Separating them as shown below. There shouldn't be any extra spaces, meaning this ain't even typed out automatically for you or actually working in the background. It's telling you have to type them yourself. Sounds like they should be a game developer at this point with how stupid game development is at the moment. Why not just go ahead and already have it typed? And then just allow anyone, if they want certain ones not turned on, just to be able just to uncheck mark it. That way it just deletes it out of the code line. Would have been a lot better. But anyways, we're getting off point on that. So we're going to click on the modded arc, which, by the way, you can see has a save file because the save icon is there compared to any other one here, right? Alrighty. Let's go to mod settings, available mods, and you can see now we have all of this with all of these loaded. Now it's not telling you the exactly order because active mods here will tell you what order they're actually loaded in, but we're not worried about too much of that. We're just worried about loading in. And I bet you here when I click play single player in a second, we are going to crash, meaning I'm going to be starting a brand new stream here in a second. But let's pop in. I'm just showing you guys there's no update to the other mod, which is the world mod. And I bet you we're not even going to get to run around. And it's a paid mod, by the way, $10. Crashed.